right, nice job. Good set. Let's do some social kick.
And I'm just pulling up the ISL recaps here.
Your bottle opener?
Yeah.
Oh, you already got it.
I got my beer, and I'm gonna start this episode.
Oh man,
we're
here
starting
we go.
it.
All right, we're back. We're back.
We're back.
And we're back.
And we're back. All right, I'm Justin. Who do I got in my
Luke.
right?
I'm John.
I'm Brian.
What's the agenda today, boys?
Well, first, what are you drinking tonight, Justin?
You know, it's not a weeknight, so I'm drinking today.
Oh, boy. Your parents are letting you drink tonight.
Cheers
Oh,
to that.
Also,
No
to
cold
our,
bottle.
if people can see, can people rate my Movember, please? Please be honest.
How would you rate your Movember, Justin?
In past years, since I started this since I was 18, I got made fun of, and I still get made fun of for it. This is the first year where people give me props. I'll give myself a good 9 out of 10.
9 out of 10.
You look like a Shaolin monk.
You know?
Shaolin monk. What character were you saying you looked like?
So there's an old Mad TV character, Bobby Lee. He's like a comedian. He still does stand-up.
Mad TV.
Mad
Remember
TV.
You are watching.
Yeah, so he used to be a stand-up comedian there. He does some underground stand-up still. Pretty funny dude. Shout out to Bobby Lee.
That TV had some weird skits.
Oh, yeah. He did some weird skits. Bobby Lee.
The two I remember, like Stuart and Miss Swan.
Stuart, that's the one I remember.
Oh, excuse me.
I remember
those
Swan,
ones.
too.
Look what I can do.
Yeah.
Going back to the topic of hand, I'm drinking the Voodoo Ranger Imperial IPA. What are you drinking, Luke?
The great Modelo Especial.
I need
The only
to get
problem
a-
with this beer is that you get foil in your mouth
Yeah.
sometimes when you drink it, like I just did. So never mind. It's a good beer.
That
I
is
need to
a
grab a bottle
It's
later.
kind of like champagne, but a beer.
Yeah, is that just to make it look fancier? That
Like Cristal.
it's got to be the foil on the top. What else would it be? All right, I'm also drinking Voodoo Ranger Juicy Haze IPA.
Juicy Haze.
Juicy Haze.
I am
Juicy.
drinking a Weekend Vibes Coronado Brewing Company IPA.
There we go.
Juice.
It is Mosaic and Citra.
Where's Coronado?
Where's Coronado?
Mhm.
California?
San Diego.
Well, anyway, cheers, fellas.
Cheers. All right.
Cheers to another podcast.
There we go.
All right.
Cheers. Thanks for joining us.
All
Thank
right.
you,
Drinking.
everyone.
What's that?
I said thank you.
Oh, yes. Alrighty. So, what's been going on in the news, boys?
We are in the middle of November.
Yeah.
Yeah, are we going to be talking about my man, Sun Yang's case?
Oh.
Your man.
Your man.
Well, for those who don't know, I worked with Mr. Sun Yang for about two and a half months leading up to the 15 World Champs?
You guys
Right.
homies?
2017 World Champs
John,
in Budapest.
you boys homies? Best friends?
We had a lot of togetherness, that's for sure. So I was his PT and his strength coach.
But now he's a new kind of suited up.
Well, he's been
Bam,
in
right
court
here.
trying to
Good one.
figure out his what's going on with the doping case.
Mhm.
Justin, do you want to give a brief overview of what's going on?
So, yeah, it seems like, there's something going on right now with his drug tester. He's considered unqualified in his recent appeal. The story, however, still continues. I've been trying to keep up a little bit. There's still a lot of hearings here and there. But the most recent thing was that I guess his buddy helped him do his urine test, I believe, and then he's not technically qualified. I don't know if there's a specific qualification. I don't know the full background.
You think anyone can just go in and say, "Hey,
No, not
give me
really.
your urine and blood right now"?
Right, yeah, exactly.
Mr. eighth most
Yeah.
popular athlete in the world.
Yeah.
It's like going into
Well, that's what
Kobe
I'm saying.
Bryant's house and
Yeah.
saying, "Hey,
It's
give me your
actually hard
blood
to
and
believe.
urine."
Yeah, but to be honest, I've had drug testers show up at my house before, and I remember specifically a time where there was a guy who had been to my house multiple occasions, and then this particular time he showed up with an assistant, and his assistant was, I think it was his daughter. And
Oh.
I don't recall the specifics of credentials or checking their credentials. I do recall it being a standard process for drug testers to flash the badge.
Show something.
And everything was very, very formal from end to end. But it's not uncommon for there to be supporting people, helping with just some of the processing paperwork and sort of. So the fact that there was a separate person as part of this process is not surprising. The fact that there was a separate person who was sort of a junior level is also not surprising. The fact that, no offense, that this sort of behavior took place in China, in my experience in China, it doesn't surprise me that there could have been, I don't know, just variations globally. And that doesn't apply just to China. It applies to other countries too, that I think variations in how formal and what the procedures are for like organizing the drug testing protocol is probably like at different levels of maturity globally. So, I mean, the fact that there's questions about like the kind of junior level associate drug tester in this case is, not shocking to me. Again, that's sort of the counterpoint to, Soon Young's guilty.
I have an alternate opinion to that, though. Wouldn't you have the best referees for the NBA Finals? Wouldn't you, if you're going to go and drug test Michael Jordan, you're going to put your A team to go and you check, okay, guys, we're not going to check Michael right now. All right, John, I know you've been doing years and years. Who are you? That's okay. Wouldn't you have the best team and they'll be in the team? That's Sun Yang. That's the top athlete in China. You're not just gonna have a bunch of chums like, hello, welcome to the team.
Exactly.
I haven't seen you around. That's wrong. You don't do that for
that is a very fair point.
To interject, just real quick, he mentioned in his hearing, like him and his buddy were like, we took photos during the testing. We also took videos, which I guess you're not allowed to do. And then his buddy was like, I just came over that night, thought I would help my buddy. And, that was that. I didn't think it was that big of a deal.
Exactly. And that's where it gets dicey because, like I said, I mean, I don't think people in America really realize how big he is, how popular he is. I mean, ESPN did a list of like the most popular athletes of every sport, and it was off of like social media presence and things like that. And I think he was listed at number 10. In the world of every sport.
Of every athlete.
Every athlete in the world. So this is literally like going over to LeBron James's house and taking photos and taking pictures of him and not showing your credentials. He's got a posse there. And if things aren't adding up, like you said, in different areas of the world, people act differently to things. They're going to go nuts like they did if things aren't adding up because he has people to take care of that for him.
Yeah, but John, wouldn't therefore mean that it's very easy for some person to take the fall for it and just take the fall as opposed to Sun Yang taking the fall? And somebody saying, you know what, you take the fall, you admit to all this stuff, and you take a fall.
Yeah, potentially. But I would hope that, the only person that could take a fall for this is the tester, right?
Right.
The tester there.
Right.
But this tester, you would hope isn't associated with them at all. So you would hope that there's some sort of divergence because I would assume they're supposed to be affiliated with FINA or Chinada or whoever went to do the testing. So you would hope there's some separation there where they can't get to them. Obviously, there could be a lot of money involved and that could sway people. So you could always use that counter argument. But what can you? We only know so much.
The thing that's not in his favor is, regardless of any of the credential questions of this associate drug tester, it didn't necessarily have to escalate. It certainly didn't have to escalate to breaking a vial.
Definitely.
And that regardless of where the truth lies in sort of the credential piece, it's going to be really hard and I think that this is sort of the sticking point for the public opinion and the athlete world opinion is that, like, okay, so who cares? But why did you smash the vial of blood? I mean, he could have waited for a long time.
And do what? Pour it out, and they can still take samples from it, confiscate it, and throw it away. And
it sounds
that's also what kind of thing you might do.
It sounds very dramatic, the approach of taking a hammer to a vial of blood or just taking the cap off of it. And
but say you really are.
It's a locking cap.
Yeah. Say you really think someone is in there. Say they thought this person was like paparazzi or some random person, right? Yeah. I mean, you're gonna
lose your temper.
Yeah, you lose your temper. You say, "Hey, where are your credentials?" "Oh, I don't have them." You're like, "Who are you? What's going on?" And then you just like, "We're not gonna allow this." And like you said, I don't think it needed to get escalated that high, but I could see how it could happen, especially if there's any miscommunication or misunderstanding along the way, which I would almost guaranteed was occurring.
And how many times has it been tested since? And how many times was it tested before? And how many of those times was it even close to coming a positive test? None.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's not. We're not talking about positive case.
Right. Yeah.
Is that true? Is it?
Yeah. From what I'm reading, it's more of a behavioral thing more than anything, and I think everyone should be judged the same way at the end of the day. And again, I'm not as familiar with Soon Young as most other people on this panel are, but at the end of the day, I think you got to respect the system at hand, and I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, and he's got a positive in his past, and
he does.
Yeah, he does have a positive in his past for a heart medication because he does have a heart issue that he takes medication for, and they made his medication before the positive an illegal substance, and he continued to take it, and he tested positive some random Chinese meat years ago. So I mean, it doesn't mean he didn't test positive. He still tested positive for that, but he has a heart condition. He still takes, I believe, some medication for it because it still does give him problems when he has to get out of practice because he's having a tough time. So it is something where he does have the history, so we can keep be scrutinous of him or keep a close eye on him.
Indeed, you should.
But yeah, I mean, it's still an interesting case and one that where if someone comes in without credentials, I could see where it gets to maybe not smashing vials, but something escalates.
Which the case is still going on.
Yeah.
If
Lot
you
to
had
figure
to
out.
bet on one outcome today, Luke, what do you think is going to happen?
He swims in Tokyo.
John?
Yeah, I think this is not going to turn into anything. I think it's starting to show that this person was not qualified or credentialed. And, I mean, people will say that FINA wants to keep Sun Yang around because he is the most popular swimmer in the world. He definitely is. You go to World Champs, and there's a whole Sun Yang fan section, and not too many athletes have that.
My college buddy was obsessed with Sun Yang, by the way. He would watch his documentaries on YouTube and stuff. They'd all be in Chinese and whatnot, but he's like, "Oh man, Sun Yang, just
I've
go."
done a few
crazy.
documentaries
Yeah,
with Sun Yang training. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah. We'll have
That's cool.
to get into those bad boys.
Are you in it for under your surname?
I have no idea. I'm like the guy in the background that they're
Big
trying to
chicken
get
eater?
out of the way here.
I want to backtrack a little bit, Brian. Would you say the standards for testing in terms of drug testing are a little bit different country to country? Because I always thought it was one foreign policy, basically. Everyone does the same thing? Or is it just, maybe I'm mishearing that, sorry, because I was looking at some of the
Every
articles and
association has their
whatnot.
own.
Yeah, so there's independent drug testing agencies within each governing body.
USADA or Janata.
Yeah. So anytime he says
Japan.
he says Chinata, that's like China
Yeah.
Association of Doping or Anti-Doping Agency,
Agency,
right? So they typically all end in ADA, but so there's the World Anti-Doping Agency, WADA, and then in the U.S. there's USADA.
Right.
And so the majority of the time, USADA was the governing body testing meat. There are some of the elite athletes in the world who get tested by WADA directly, and it's a separate network of drug testers. And so that all, and yes, so the maturity of it, the processes of it can vary greatly.
Right. Yeah,
from
that's what I was
country to
wondering.
country.
Sorry, that wasn't clear.
In an earlier episode, Luke was talking about George having a missed, George Bell having not a missed
Almost
test, but
missed.
almost missed test because they were knocking on his door and he lives in the jungle, literally, in Trinidad. And so, trying to find that is not
Shout out
something
to
that
George.
was typically, where they would find him, right? And so, yes, it varies country to country. It also varies based on your world ranking. So the higher up you are in the world ranking, and I don't know the specific thresholds, but you enter the test pool at top 50 in the world, and then from there, I think it goes in increments of 8. So if you're in the top 16 in the world and the top 8 in the world, it's exponentially more testing that occurs for the top 8 in the world.
But you
they're
also-
there all the time.
But you
showing
get
up.
tested. You don't be ranked in the world to get tested as well. If at nationals, we got tested if we won nationals, or if we came top. We won nationals for sure, and if you came a finalist nationals, you were tested randomly. They picked up So.
Yeah.
That's
No,
kind
it's
of
usually
follows,
it's usually the winner and somebody else from the top.
Some
team.
random finalist.
Yeah.
So to your point earlier, Sun Yang is going to swim Tokyo because Russians swam in Rio.
That's why. Yeah. Okay.
They're the
Based on,
standard now.
I think
Simple as that.
it sounds like he's going to get cleared too.
Yeah.
I mean, there seems to be some flaws in that system. So, anyways, I think that's that, and we'll just stay posted to see what happens because, like you said, it's still going on there.
It's going on for a while, but yeah.
Yep, still there.
My quick opinion, maybe a short suspension. I doubt it. He's swimming in Tokyo.
Tokyo.
Moving on, though.
We had some fast swims in the U.S., which was it's a sidetrack, by the way. We had, not just the ISL, but we had some young female sprinters tearing it up in the U.S., going 21-0 in 53 yards, which is very close to the American record. And then you had Shane Cassie just blowing it up as well. So we had some very fast swimming in the U.S. All these new names are coming out.
Yep.
So don't just look to the ISL for who's going to be there next year in Tokyo. You need to look at what's going on in college swimming and in the Grand Prix coming up, because there are some young kids coming up there to take some podium spots in the Olympic trials.
I mean,
You seen that?
Yeah, I mean, Shane showed up at nationals, and I wasn't too familiar with him, but I think he won nationals in the.
He did. He tore it up at national. I think he won 2 or 3 events.
Exactly. So I think he is. I think I saw this on a comment somewhere. I mean, he's peaking at the right time, and he's at the right age to really make some big improvements.
And Wiseman in the 53.
Yeah, exactly. So I think, like you said, the college kids that aren't in ISL, a lot of them are making big changes and can make big impacts at Olympic trials. But we did have the ISL US Derby.
Absolutely.
That's right. So, Brian, did you take a look at those results much, or were you able to tune in? You were saying you're having tune-in issues, right? You weren't able to watch?
Yeah, so the early, I guess, what do you call them? Meets. What do they call them again?
I just know this round's the
Sessions?
Derby.
It's called the American Derby.
This
or
was
US
the Derby, but they were
US
calling
match.
them
It's
the
only a
match.
match. Yeah,
They
the
called them a
match.
match.
American Derby. American Derby.
It just feels like calling, a field of pitch to me. But
Yeah.
so they, but this time around, I mean, we've talked about the coverage.
Do you call a bowler a pitcher
Well, what sport?
for baseball? And a bowler is supposed to be a pitcher.
Well, we're talking about ISL swimming, not
I know.
ISL cricket. So,
but you also said field
There is an
I
ISL
just
cricket, and also-
I know.
I had to fight
Let's
back
be
then.
real here.
When is the
Baseball's
ISL
different.
Swim League going to show up
Cricket.
first over the Cricket League when you search ISL?
Never.
on Google?
Never.
Never? Okay.
never, because
All
to Luke's point, you're fighting 1 billion people. For all of those people that are
Uh,
searching ISL with Google, you're going to keep getting
Yeah.
into the Super League.
Yeah.
And I'm in as much pain about that as you are. So, but we talked about
The Derby.
Yeah, the Derby, but early in some of the matches, the ESPN coverage was changing too. So you had like a summary recap of 1 hour that was, you could get on demand.
Mm-hmm.
But then when it came to this past weekend, they didn't have those sessions on demand, at least not during the weekend or immediately thereafter. I haven't checked it since because that's when I was trying to watch it.
Yeah.
So that was kind of unfortunate. But, I mean, I did go through some of the results, and there's, to be honest, there wasn't a whole lot that stood out to me. You did have a few people that were clearly arrested, like Infinity.
Sure.
Right.
And
Huge
then,
drops.
Bunch of
Yeah,
American
I mean-
records. No, U.S. Open records. And American in the 50.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he had him there.
Yeah, so clearly there's people, and this is, I mean, we talked about this, like the focus on certain meets throughout, the ISL season is interesting this year. I'm still waiting for next season or perhaps, subsequent seasons where there's people who focus entirely, their whole year is focused on how to perform in this 12-week period. Assuming that they make it to 12 weeks, but maybe it's just like
It's
a
gonna be
6 or
more than
8
Well,
weeks
yeah.
next year.
You may not have
Right?
seen this. They said they're going to add 2 teams next year.
Oh, I saw that.
Oh,
Okay.
really?
And compete from when
Jesus.
September
And so they
to
should.
February.
So they should.
Oh,
Every
that is
weekend.
so many meets.
Yeah.
Is
That's
that
a lot
so
of meets.
I'm not drafted yet. I'm still waiting.
They're going to do dual meets? Yeah, you're not going to be
Sorry, there's an age requirement.
But anyway,
It's a Masters team. Come on.
Yeah, I think next year and the years after, if it continues, like you said, it's going to be huge because some people, this might be all they do.
My mom reached out to me about it today.
Try to peek at these meets and
Right.
go from
Now,
there.
so from the beginning, the dual meet format, I mean, I think the first time we talked about this, that we didn't even know that it was a quad format.
Sure.
And I think it's probably for the better for the outside of the season or for the inaugural season for there to be like more teams in the competition at once. Because if it gets really one-sided in a college dual meet, for example, like that's boring.
Oh,
Big
yeah.
time.
And I think that there is an advantage to there being 4 teams.
Mhm.
I'm again not a fan of there being the same exact meet from one week to the next week.
Yeah.
But if I don't know. I'll be interested to see how that goes. I'm not so convinced that more meets is to the league's benefit.
I mean,
at this point, I mean a little bit of a longer season, but not 27 or whatever. It was.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
And like you said, I think if they go to dual meets, it's going to have to be one day. It needs to be short, and it needs to be close competitions. Because
Yeah.
imagine if Energy Standard was playing your New York Breakers.
The
2
New
days
York
of that.
Breakers.
I mean, that's going to be a bloodbath. And like you said, it's not going to be that interesting
Unless they
because it'll be
trade.
a blowout
Yeah.
from the start.
But going back to the American Derby or match,
Yeah.
Derby.
Just
Derby.
one more
It's a
time.
derby.
This is a derby, not a derby.
what's a derby for you?
What is a derby?
What means derby
Not
for
a
you?
word.
What means derby? It is a derby.
I only know 50 words. And
I
that's
think
not
I've known
one.
somebody named Darby.
That's a good rap song.
What?
I don't know 50 words and that's not one.
Are you talking Jay-Z?
Anyways,
99
so-
problems.
Yeah, I think he's trying to. He's not from these parts.
Could you imagine that the LA Current lost Nathan, Adrian, and Ryan Murphy,
Mhm.
right? Big point getters,
I still will.
and they still did well. Imagine LA Current still had somebody make the finals of the skins in the men. Imagine they still did well in the
They won the
backstroke.
meet, right?
Yeah.
They did.
Yeah.
And they lost two of their biggest names, and not just like your fast swimmers, but names that kind of like bring confidence to the team. And you lost them. And who came in? Shane Ryan came in.
Mhm.
Chadwick stepped up.
Mm-hmm.
Boom! That was pretty impressive for the current.
Blake
Well done.
Bellamy is another one.
Yeah, true.
Swam pretty
Yeah,
It's
well.
good to see
it was-
Chadwick. I mean, that was big
Mhm.
points.
Yeah, man.
And also
Chase
popped him
Daly.
up the money list too.
They did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, big
Good
time.
for him. But
Yeah.
like you said, it depends if these people try to peak at certain times and all this. I mean, all these athletes are really fast.
Mhm.
And if Chadwick wants to rest, or like we saw with Finnerty,
Make some money.
if they want to rest a little, they can go from 8th place maybe to 1st place in some of these derbies or swim meets. So it's interesting to see how people are approaching it and what they might be doing in the future.
Yeah, and I think there's an article that came out that said that Matt Greenberg wants to shave and rest for Vegas.
Mhm.
Like he wants to fully rest, see how fast he can
Yeah,
go.
because
Well-
normally they swim World Short Course.
Yeah.
Well,
champs
US
in
Open-
December before.
US Open is
that's right.
December, I think, 9th,
skip that.
10th, and 11th. No, I think they'll go to it.
They'll go.
No, I mean
they'll double
the
rest.
shaving. The
They
double
might
rest?
shave for it, and then
Mm.
they'll just ride it out for 2 more weeks. Or
Yeah,
go
I
from
mean,
there, right?
Griever specifically trains in a program that historically has always shaved in December.
Yeah,
and gone
yeah.
fast in
Uh-huh.
December. So, I mean, that one's not a surprise to me,
Mhm.
but I think there will be a lot more
Oh,
of that.
most
I think so
definitely.
too, and I think a lot of people usually do rest and shave in December. I think the Olympic
Mm-hmm.
year might change it a little for some, but nonetheless, I think it's going to be some exciting stuff ahead. And I don't know, any other big takeaways from the Derby? Justin, anything stand out for you from the
I
U.S.?
could be wrong, but this is the first time I think I saw where they're putting every single event on YouTube,
Oh, yeah.
so I can catch back up. I could be wrong, and I apologize to our viewers if that's incorrect and I wasn't keeping up as much. But it was pretty nice just to be, because sometimes I'm not able to watch the coverage, Warriors games.
Go Dubs.
Go Dubs! Shout out to the Dubs; they're fighting hard. But it was nice to be able to recap and just watch all these events in their full commentary, which was super nice.
And I guess that's nice if they're not on ESPN for replay. If they're on YouTube, I mean, that's probably more accessible just because not everyone has an ESPN app or access to that. What were you going to say, Brian?
Is Lily King going to go undefeated, and is she going to be the only one who goes undefeated?
Aaliyah's
in
going to
ISL?
beat her in the 50th breast. Aaliyah Atkinson in
I'm trying to think of anyone
In
else.
Vegas
Yeah, but
will
she's
beat her.
undefeated to
Yeah.
date, right?
Right.
And is she
Aaliyah
the
will
only
beat her.
individual swimmer who's
Dressel
undefeated?
got beat in 100-fly
Right.
once.
She's in one of them.
and
Dressel got beat,
Sostrom's gotten beat a few times.
And Katinka got beat.
Yeah,
Yep.
because she
got
got
eighth
eighth
and
in
the
the
2 free
2
today.
Yeah.
Is there any specialist? Petey got beat.
Petey
hasn't. Yeah.
Mhm. Chase.
Well,
hasn't
and
really
Petey already got
swum.
beat
No,
in like
no,
a
no.
200.
has
but-
The
both.
50 backstroker. I'm assuming he does the 100 and does
Oh,
the one. Who's that guy that
Guido.
Does he do?
Oh, I don't know.
I got it.
I mean, he
Barrel.
he killed the 50 back again today.
I don't know, but I want
I
to
got
watch
it.
that. And
I got
see
a
if-
name.
Yeah.
Mina Atherton in the backstroke
Oh.
events. There
Is
we
she
go.
doing
Has
2
she
free
not
or
lost?
does-
I don't think
I
she's
don't know if
lost
she's
any
lost in
events.
the back, but
yeah, but she's
she,
doing the 4x1.
Yeah, I know
Let's
she does
just-
the 4x1,
in-
so she might be in a 100
Yeah.
free or a relay.
Yeah.
Or
In
a
perspective,
individual.
I think.
Yeah, but
backstroke.
individually, I
Yeah.
think Lily King might be the only one who is undefeated to date.
We'll see.
I mean,
Like you
but
said,
yeah,
there's going to be
there's
some
some good
competition.
other
in
ones,
it.
yeah.
Yeah, for
She's,
sure.
she's going to lose in Vegas.
Any other takeaways from the
Wow.
I love
There's
that.
so much Caribbean pride
I know.
happening right now.
Ilya. I loved Caleb's interview after he won his skins. He goes, yeah, that was really, really tough. But, in practice, we do the set like this. Well, it's a little harder. It's like 16 of these, and it's on a minute.
Yeah, what
And it's all out. Something like
I
that.
don't believe
I've
that.
done it. I've done that some form of that set. It's called
So
the Florida 200.
3 minutes is nothing for me.
It's called the Florida 200 set. It sucks. If you ever done it, or if you do a fly, it really hurts.
I love he just and he went 21-4 in all 3
Those
rounds.
guys
Buying it, huh?
No, I'm not buying it. No, I don't buy it. Like
He's got 21
going
for in that set.
350s all out on 3 minutes rest is the
He
same
says he
as
rested
going,
the first 2.
is going 8. First of all, he said 3 rounds of 850s. So
Yeah, that's
24
right.
50s going all out is not.
No,
first of all,
no,
they're
not possible.
First of all, they're not going all out. Second of all, it's not the same thing. So it
We'll
sounds
talk,
like
It was cool.
We'll talk about
That was
set
click-
one of
that
those
was
days.
clickbait.
One of these days.
But how about his splits, though, at this last skins?
Yeah, what do you go? 21-3, 21-3, 21-4, something like that?
No, 21-2 on the last one, I believe.
Destroying
I'm
everyone.
I mean, yeah, and I think it was like 21-2
earlier in the meet,
21-2
right?
Who's
versus
the fastest
20.
50 now? Because Manu went 20.4.
Yeah, Justin
today.
was wondering that too.
20.4 was the. I wonder if it's
Yeah, he
maybe
went a little
ISL
slower in the
record.
straight up 50 though.
Yeah.
You did.
So this further to my point, like I really want future seasons, especially if it's only a 1-day session, and especially if it's dual meets. There's got to be more excitement on races like the skins, and if we can integrate more ways to do off distance or repetitive type of things that mimic like a set or something that are just as exciting as the skins or somewhere close, that's where all of the viewership comes from.
But you want to add, so you have to take away. Which ones would you take away? You want to take away a whole day, and you want to add some events. What events would you take away?
I would make it one
200
day.
and up.
Right.
I would make it one day, and I would get rid of the long events.
200 and up, be gone with it. Just do the drop down races for each
200
stroke.
and up. You'd get rid of the 200s.
Therefore, you
It depends what the timeline's like. I'd have to play around with it, but I
Yeah.
want to see a drop down event where it's a skins game starting at the 200, then maybe 150 or down to 100, down to 50, down to 25.
You guys just
something
want to
like
hurt
that,
people, don't you?
Where you can see who can make it through.
So no
Okay, I
Ledecky.
like that, but
So no Ledecky.
But yeah, I'd have to look at the timeline. I
know what?
I love 200s, but
no, but exactly. So that's the point, though, is
Yeah,
that
no
you work instead of just the pure sprinters
Yeah.
and finding somebody who's. I mean, okay, so in the ISL, the skins participant is akin to the NFL quarterback. They're paid way more. They're compensated way more.
Yeah.
They get way more prize money, way more points.
sure.
And so they're driving whether the team wins or loses.
Big time. Yeah,
And that's
yeah.
huge. There's a lot of accountability on it. Let's make more athletes on each team responsible in the same way and make it, Emma McKeon, for example, would
Yeah.
probably slay at the 200, 100,
Or in Showstrom,
50,
right?
yeah.
They'll be-
yeah, or
It's
yeah, maybe
the
there's some
top.
that's like it's a stretch for them to do it, but I mean, there's other opportunities to create that sort of, the energy on the pool deck is totally different when that's going on.
So what if the swimmer who won the most points for the 50, 100, and 200 of a particular race also got like a grand prize?
Love
So
that idea.
yeah.
Yeah, just
Big car.
like
you can
a few
third,
other-
second,
yeah.
and first, and somebody went third, well, the third, second, first beats them and gets more points. So
I love it. Yeah.
Why don't you try, this is really maniacal, 400, 200, 150? That would be really terrible. Or 200 stroke, 100 stroke, 50 stroke. That would be awful too.
If they did 400, 200, 150, I want them like in the other pool and just like happening, like let them do it over there.
Yeah.
Diving.
While the rest of the meet is going on.
Here's another one. 400 IM, 200 IM, 100 IM.
That's fine.
That's also pretty
I
easy.
would potentially
Oh, I want no part of it.
Introduce a pentathlon.
You're retired.
Thank
It's
you.
okay, man. And you didn't do I am.
Yeah.
See, Brian, I would
I don't
have
know.
to do the 400, 200, 100 IM, or the 200, 150 stroke, and it's butterfly.
Oh, that sounds so brutal.
I would actually maybe have to do the free.
But I'll
fall.
maintain that pound for pound, the 50 free is the hardest race in swimming.
Pound for pound.
What's your
Pound for
takeaway from
pound.
the derby? That was.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think anything else than what you said about Dressel's skins was amazing. Andrew showed up; he had some better swims, so
won,
that
yeah.
was
He
encouraging
won.
to see him
He
get a
won the first
win,
round of
whether
the
he's
skins.
rested or not. I mean, it's nice to see
He won
that.
50 back, didn't he?
But yeah, that's
He's
really
tired.
all I had. You got any other takeaways?
No.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for joining us. See you next
Yeah.
time.
See you on the next one,
Thanks.
guys. Yep.